welcome to the SmackDown about weird video formats that we actually used to watch things on back in the 2000s.
Yes.
Alright, Eli actually pulled up a series of pictures, like he has been doing for the previous SmackDown, so, Eli, would you care to do that?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Alright.
Right. Sorry if things seem hectic. I'm still in the middle of the internet transition.
Are you on Starlink right now, or are you on the backup?
I'm on the backup because I'm still setting things up.
Okay.
Alright, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to do this. Okay. Alright. How's it look?
Looks great. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll switch to the Starlink once we get to a thing that I don't know what it is.
Alright. So, this is weird video formats. Like, in the 2000s, technology was evolving at a rapid rate. Like, a lot of ways of watching content, whether it be movies or TV, have just come about in this decade. Like, the iPhone comes out, the DS has a way of playing video via the movie clip codec, although no studio ever took advantage of that. There was also UMD for PSP. Basically, screens that you could take with you were getting better, but they weren't quite there yet. So, in the 2000s, you had these very weird series of formats, both rental, portable, Proto HD, that came out that served a purpose that smartphones, tablets, etc., or streaming would later provide. So, the first one we'll talk about is DivX. And this one actually has the worst reputation.
Why am I hearing scratchy sound?
Yeah.
Hold on a sec, guys.
Alright. Alright, about DivX. Okay, so DivX was created as a way for people to take home DVDs that they would normally rent. But here's the thing. With rental at, say, a Blockbuster, you had to take the disc back to the store. And this was in the early days of DVD, back when, you know, Blockbuster was still only carrying tape. Yeah, we can make out the picture.
Okay, like, you know, just cue me when to, like, scroll the picture, so I assume that was my cue to go to this picture first.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Right. So, okay, we're on DivX, right?
Yeah, and I talked about how, you know, Blockbuster only carried VHSs at the time, and you actually had to take back the tape once you were done. It was a hassle, so companies in the late 90s and early 2000s, with the rise of DVD, were coming up with ways so people couldn't do that. So ways so that people didn't have to do that, I should say. And one of these ways, the earliest, was DivX. This was basically a series of DVD players that had a phone jack on them that would phone up Circuit City once you put the special DivX disc in the player saying, hey, he's about to play a disc. Give him 48 hours for it to work, and then make it stop working. So, that's how an early form of DRM basically started, and it was awful, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exclusive to Circuit City, and look what happened to Circuit City now. Anyway, the thing about the format is it was, despite it being not very well received, it was revolutionary for its time, to the point where Disney and LucasArts and even the people behind Star Trek were opting to release their newest releases exclusively on DivX. And also to clarify, this is the DivX rental format, not the popular DivX codec that is used in streaming video and file transfers today.
Yeah, and did you know that that codec was actually named as a jab at this? Like, you can actually see the picture that Eli's showing. That's actually of the codec.
Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting.
I mean, I didn't know this, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was supposed to be a jab at this. I mean, the weird thing about DivX discs these days, though, is that trying to play them, and it's not going to come up with anything, even after DivX kind of went bust. And I wonder if anyone has actually tried to rip a DivX disc before.
Rip it, decrypt it, something, that would be pretty cool. The reason this and other weird rental formats are trying to be marketed, they try to make you think like, oh, this is convenient because I just get the disc for a few bucks and I don't even have to return it.
Yeah, I talked about that. Problem was that once people threw the discs away, it builds up, and builds up, and builds up, and builds up. And you have an environmental problem.
Even more so with a different format that's not DivX when we get to that.
Yeah. Although, this was actually a bit more understandable and at least somewhat ahead of its time, since you had a phone jack and it kind of verifies everything, much like modern DRM today.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll admit, like, if we tried a similar thing nowadays, it would probably make more sense because, like, we already stream movies, right?
Yeah, we do.
And like this might work for, if this came back today, it might work for people that have really crappy internet, like me at the moment, and can't stream movies. It only has to connect to the internet to verify a rental and charge your card, and then the movie plays off the disc. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing, though. DivX discs only had the movie in full screen, it only had Dolby Digital 5.1, no DTS here, so it wasn't really for the film buff, it was really for that guy who just doesn't want to return, who's just super lazy, and is just too cheap to just buy the movie.
Right. Like, imagine, like, this taking off. Imagine this being, like, relaunched as, like, a Blu-ray thing. Not a 4K Blu-ray, but just a standard Blu-ray thing. It might catch on.
I mean, it might catch on, but here's the thing. People know what's up with discs these days. People know how to reverse engineer stuff. They're gonna quickly crack the code, and make it playable in any player.
And then, but then also combine it with Blu-ray constantly performing software updates that keep changing the encryption keys, and then it could just be like the same back and forth we have with Blu-rays today.
I mean, I get your idea, but here's the thing. If you know anything about the history of PSP homebrew, or Wii homebrew, or 3DS homebrew, you know that no matter how hard they try, they're gonna find a way around it, even if it takes a while. And they could just, cut off their Blu-ray player
am very
from
familiar
Wi-Fi.
with it.
Yeah, and
very, very well, yeah.
And really, they could really just cut it off from the internet connection if they don't want their disc to work. If they want their disc to work, I meant.
Right.
And really, though...
I understand.
And really, though, what we really should do is have some... And since Blu-rays are already only $5 anyway, like, a lot of Blu-rays, like, what we should really do is, like, have, like, very cheap, no-frills Blu-rays, more no-frills than they are now, believe it or not, that can be sold for, like, $5 for the basically a rental price, so that they could, serve that purpose, because this thing seems just kind of convoluted. in my opinion.
I mean, like,
And
they're
prone to
kind of
bullshit.
already doing that in the rental market for Blu-ray. Because, like the video rental places are actually receiving special versions of certain movies on Blu-ray, where they have the movie, they have the subtitles, they have the audio tracks, but all the special features are dummied out. Like they're either blanked out or they're locked out, and they tell you, "Oh, buy the movie at your local retailer to see these bonus features."
Yeah. That's basically what I'm talking about anyway.
Yeah.
But because your idea about the whole, Neo-Divix sort of Blu-ray, phoning up over online, that just seems kind of complicated, and people are not going to like that, and people are going to crack that quickly, and people are going to cheat it. And further exacerbating the problem of the piracy.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, now, Divix was a thing. We've said a word on Divix. This was the first attempt at disposable DVDs. But what if you made the DVD literally disposable? Like, it's not even tech involved.
Oh, God.
There's literal chemicals involved. Chemicals in the water to make your DVDs gay.
Yeah.
And this is Flex Play.
Yes, roll the Flex Play slide. There
Yes,
we go.
Is it showing?
Yes.
I mean, I'm really just
Yes.
I always like to make sure if what I show on my screen share if it really is showing, unless if there's technical difficulties.
Yeah, there's no technical difficulties
Right.
at all.
All right, that's good.
That reminds me, there's a particular, there's actually a particular shot I want to show of a Flex Play DVD as well. Just give me a minute to fetch the screenshot. In the meantime, the thing about Flex Play, they, like, business as usual, comparing it to DivX, in that you buy it for dirt cheap and you don't have to return it. But in this case, the discs are in a hermetically sealed envelope, and they tell you do not open until ready to play the movie. And it looks and it sounds like it's full of bullshit, but no. The reason is because they construct the disc with a special chemical that reacts, I don't know what the word is, corrosively, negatively, some kind of ly, to oxygen.
Yeah, and the weird thing about Flex Play was that you open the DVD, the chemical does its thing, and you play the movie for like 2 days, and then it just stops working. But here's the thing. A lot of the movies that came out on Flex Play were either pretty old or way past their normal DVD dates. And so, if you were trying to get something like the newest releases, you were kind of screwed. And back to the actual, corrosive part.
Right.
The weird thing about... Go ahead, end page. Go ahead.
That's actually the screenshot I'm trying to grab. I'm gonna show like what a disc looks like after the corrosive reactions take place. Hang on, the video's buffering that I'm trying to grab the screenshot from. But anyway, yes, you can tell the. Nah, I don't think so. So, like, I'm gonna take the screenshot. I'm gonna share it in the chat, and then you guys can figure out what to do with it from there.
Yeah.
Alright, so screenshot is saved. Now I just gotta send it to you guys. So once 2 days go by and the corrosive-ish reaction is finished, the disc will stop working, and you can tell it has stopped working because it will also discolor the disc, kind of making it look like an HD DVD, but it's not an HD DVD. It's an RIP DVD, as I call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I sent the picture. If anyone wants to share the picture, go ahead.
Yeah, and the weird thing about FlexPlay discs is that, you know why they're color red? Because of Blu-ray players.
Why?
Because, like, people who know a thing or two about optical discs, they think, hey, what if I can just, play this with a blue laser, in a Blu-ray player? Haha, take that, sucker! But apparently, nope. You can't do that because they're red, and they can't read the damn thing. They can't read the damn pits.
Yeah. There is a rumor that, though I have not confirmed this, there is a rumor that if you put the disc in a computer while it's still playable and attempt to rip it, the corrosive reaction would accelerate and just straight up kill the DVD faster. But I have not been able to confirm that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is due to the DVD's disc spinning in the player. And after FlexPlay kind of went kaput, they actually tried to do this exact concept again, but this time with a bit more pizzazz to it, since instead of, having to wait until we're ready to play it to actually open it, it just starts, corroding once you put it in the player and the disc starts spinning. So that's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
they always put labels on these flex plays like you can recycle them. Pfft, yeah, right. Pretty much the majority of these take up landfills today.
Yeah. You remember Divx and how that was an environmental problem? This was even bigger.
Yes.
Yes, and the fact that FlexPlay was like this, it didn't really catch on, and it honestly shouldn't have catched on at all. So...
Fair enough.
Although... what else can I say about FlexPlay? Oh, FlexPlays actually don't stop working immediately, they just gradually stop working over time, and even if you open a disc today, like a brand new in-sealed disc today in 2022, it will still work to some degree, although it'll pause like near the end of the movie. A YouTube channel called Oddity Archive actually proved this recently. Not recently, but like in one of his videos.
Yeah, essentially, the material that keeps the corrosive process from occurring has kind of worn out and reached its expiry dates some time ago. That's why it degrades some of the disc today.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. All right.
So now what?
I think we can end the rental stuff because we never actually had any. Because we actually never had any experience with these formats. However, we did have one experience with one of the portable formats we're going to talk about. It is Video Nows. Yes, remember these things? Remember these things where they said,
yeah.
I'm going to
go ahead.
I have not seen a video now in my life, so I'm going to step out and change internets while you talk about this.
Yeah, but it's just going to be me and the Sim talking about Video Now.
Yes, Video Now. This was back when iPods didn't really play video. I mean, iPods were around, but they didn't really play video that well. It was kind of hard to watch TV shows on the go. And Tiger Electronics actually came up with a solution to that in 2003, the Video Now. The Video Now was basically an LCD screen on top of an optical disc reader. It was a very weird format. At first it was the size of GameCube discs, but eventually it was ever so slightly smaller than a CD. It was a very weird format. It was called the PVD. And it was encoded in a very weird way, too. Like, it was almost like a standard audio CD, but the video was on one channel and the audio was on the other. Although that doesn't really... But the point, because commercials for this thing, of course, were everywhere. especially considering that the shows that this thing played were Nickelodeon shows, Cartoon Network shows, Disney shows, all these types of shows. And of course, this was a very interesting way to play shows on the go. It was almost like a toy of sorts. And did you know that the original Video Now black and white one, it did not have a backlight at all? So
like a game?
Yeah, like a Game Boy. So you had the bio lights that brightened the picture, just like the Game Boys. And it was a very weird format to get into, but let's just talk about my personal experience with it. I had a Video Now Color XP. Like, the Color XP was almost like their ripoff of the Game Boy Advance SP, where it had, like, a clamshell design and buttons on top of it so you could play, like, DVD-type games. And I remember watching Blue's Clues on that Video Now tape, and it's actually one of the earliest memories Video Now disc, I meant. It was one of the earliest memories I have.
Wow.
Yep. And the thing about Video Now is that it had competitors. People wanted to get in on that pie because this was actually a decent success.
Too many cooks.
Yes, too many cooks in the same field. Like, people think that Video Now is cool, and they want to get back in. So, Eli, what's your experience with Video Now?
Okay. Well, my experience with Video Now, because I too had a Video Now, because me and Decem were the only two that part of this group that had a Video Now. I do not remember what color I had of video. How many colors were there of Video Now, anyways?
Yeah, the colors of Video Now, especially the Video Now color model, which was the most common one, it had like blue ones. It had like green ones. They had like pink ones. I think I remember having a pink XP. Yeah, I liked pink back then. And there was then the Video Now color effects. This was the last Video Now they made. And it was in translucent blue, which you see here, translucent green, and translucent pink.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just wanted to ask. But yeah, so again, my experience with Video Now, because I had a Video Now. I too had a Video Now. I do not remember what color I had a Video Now, but I had some good I have good memories of like what I watched on Video Now. Like I wish I had Blue's Clues. Like because Blue's Clues was one of my jams, So I would have loved to have watched Blue's Clues on Video Now. I don't think I ever did, But what I did watch on Video Now was I can remember very well. Like I watched SpongeBob. I remember it was the episode of April Fools and Slash with King Triton. Then there was The Wiggles. It was Series 1, Anthony's Imaginary Friend Morty. There was also, I want to say I don't think so. Like I was thinking maybe I had Dora the Explorer. Probably not. But so again, SpongeBob, The Wiggles, and I had Clifford the Big Red Dog. I had Max and Ruby. I had apparently, because I don't know if this was for every movie. Maybe, I don't know. But I had Snoopy Come Home. I watched that on Video Now, and apparently, when watching Snoopy Come Home, when I watched it specifically, I was watching that, and you apparently can watch that in 3 parts. Like the movie's split in half in 3 parts, apparently. I don't know if it's happened for every movie, but I remember that experience. Like I remember it happened when I watched Snoopy Come Home. And because with Video Now, I remember very well, especially in the one with SpongeBob. Like I remember the commercials, like promos, whatever, that were played after the SpongeBob episodes finished. And I remember like the Amanda Show and. But has that... Okay, so what I said about Snoopy Come Home, and apparently I watched that, because it was split in half, like 3 parts. Like, has that happened for any other movie for Video Now?
Yeah, I actually remember that being the only movie released on Video Now. Like, I had no idea the actual movies were released on Video Now until you brought up Snoopy Come Home. because usually they'd have things like the story of Star Wars, where it's kind of like an abridged type thing of the Star Wars trilogy, and they include like making of details.
Yeah.
And like I remember actually having like these multiple packs that they would usually have only one episode of a show on them, or 2 episodes, and it would be they would be sold in like these 3 packs that you would have, and they were like 3 discs, and you're Gucci.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't remember actually watching movies on a video now. Like Super Come Home was the only movie that I actually know was on video now.
Yeah.
If there's anything I've noticed about Video Now recently, and more so with the help of the internet videos, is like there's a lot of like their release cycle kind of mirrors the Game Boy line. Like you have the Video Now and you have the Game Boy. They were both black and white. They both required lights to see. Then you had the Video Now Color, the Game Boy Color. We have color. Yay. Video Now FX with the added features. Game Boy Advance. Need I go on?
Yeah.
If this continued, I bet you they would make a Video Now with 2 screens.
Oh boy. I mean, I want to get to Game Boy Advance Video, but I actually want to talk about this about Video Now. Video Now actually had a blank PVD movie maker thing called the Video Now Media Wizard, where you would have a bunch of PVDs, and you could put them into your computer's disk drive, and you were actually able to make your own Video Now personal video discs that you could play on the Video Now player. And people actually reverse engineered the software to play other things on Video Now, basically any kind of video, and even then decode the video on the personal video discs, which is actually pretty interesting. And some people actually got some Video Nows and cut them open to make them play standard CDs, like real audio CDs. But they're not really good at it, but they're workable.
Yeah. And the PVDs, I think someone figured out you could rip them to get the movies off.
GH, I can't hear you.
Hello?
Wait.
I can hear Mike. I can
Wait a
still
second.
hear you, Michael.
I can hear him well, okay?
What, Sam? Can you not hear him?
What's going on?
Can you hear me now?
Sam, we can hear him perfectly fine.
Wait, hold on. Let me try something.
What's going on?
Can you hear me now?
Again,
One sec, guys.
I've been hearing you. Yeah. Gee, we've been hearing you perfectly good, loud and clear. But if there's something wrong with the stems,
I know he heard me when I said Video Now with 2 screens.
Guys, I can't hear you.
Oh,
1 second.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
Wait, so where was I?
Lord.
Shit.
What did you last hear from Michael, Decem?
The last thing I talked about was the Video Now Media Wizard type thing.
Oh, yeah. People, I think I saw this on a YouTube video. Someone actually ripped the PVDs and got the movies off. But I don't know. But nowadays, I don't know why you would do that, considering the quality's kind of crap.
Yeah, like the thing with Video Now was that it was in a very low resolution, much like Tiger usually had.
Yes, and I think the earlier ones had a passive matrix screen, so them being like a low frame rate didn't even matter because it's portable and they kind of bleed together anyway.
Yeah. So, really, video now was again a thing that we actually watched video on. And would you believe another thing that we actually watched videos on was our Game Boys?
Yeah, but I just wanted to quickly mention one more thing about video now, if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about this too. Like, I also watched I watched Sesame Street as well. I remember very well what the episode was. I know what was going on in that episode, but I can't remember the title nor the episode number. But it had to do something with the letter Y and stuff like that. And well, because you know what, we're probably going to mention him a little bit because with Video Now and when we get to the juice box, I have I know we've all seen Melty Man 234's Forgotten Media episode of Video Now, and we know much more about Video Now, etc. And and once we get to Juice Box, because for me, his Forgotten Media episode Juice Box, helped me know a lot about Juice Box. But okay, with all that being said, now that we've talked about Video Now, we now come to Game Boy.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's go.
All right. Video Now, that was a thing, and Nintendo actually caught wind of this, or rather Majesco caught wind of this, and they decided, hey, these kids have Game Boys, especially Game Boy Advance SPs, so why don't we find a way to cram shows on a Game Boy Advance video cartridge? And that went about as well as you'd expect. The Game Boy Advance video line of cartridges.
Yes.
How's the zooming?
I think I only had like one Cartoon Network and one Nickelodeon in the GBA video cartridge.
Oh yes, variety packs.
Yes. I never had a Game Boy, so I never had a Game Boy Advance video cartridge. So, anyway, the Game Boy Advance video system was a way, again, to compete with Video Now, and it had a very infamous method of compression, where even on the small screen, it kind of looks bad. But even then, kids were just watching this, so they wouldn't really care that much.
Right.
Go ahead, GH.
Some say for copy protection reasons, while others say it's to hide. The Game Boy Advance video cartridges are also well known for being the only cartridges that refuse to play on the Game Boy Player accessory for the GameCube.
Yeah, and people didn't want them pirating, or really, people didn't want them realizing how terrible the video quality was. So, there's that. And the weird thing about this was that, before the Video Now Color, this was actually a way to get those shows in color, which the Video Now did not provide at the time. They at least had that.
Yeah. Each episode cartridge could hold 2 episodes of TV shows, 3 if you're lucky.
Yeah, 2 episodes of TV shows, 3 if you're lucky. 2 22-minute episodes, while Video Now could only hold 1. Which was actually a very, very cool value proposition, since you already had your Game Boy, which could play games. Well, you can actually watch your shows. You did not need your stupid little Video Now thing.
Yeah. It was good for what it was, until they tried to push it by offering full-length movies on cartridges.
Yes, sure. Unlike Video Now, with the exception of Super Come Home.
Like Shrek being one of them.
Yeah, also...
I was going to say that.
GBA Video actually had movies on them. And imagine watching Shrek on the size of that cartridge. And it does not look good. Like the frame rate's literally like 6 frames per second, which will actually get to that being normal. Heavily compressed.
I'll give them
more resolution. Yeah.
I was about to.
I'll give them props.
Let Eli talk.
Okay, I just wanted to say, who would want to watch, a movie on a screen that small, this, like, when, what's up with this? Like, I want to watch the movie, like, on a big TV, blah, blah, blah. You get my point.
Right. I mean, I don't even think you can get through a full movie on 2 AA batteries.
Oi.
Anyway, like, so you'd think, pushed it that far, compressing the movie as far as they could, and sacrificing a lot of the resolution and frame rate, they'd stop there. The standalone releases were good enough, and that would be the limit to trying to push it. Nope. They also made movie combo cartridges. Like, imagine Shrek and Shark Tale on the same cartridge, and whichever one you watch is compressed even worse than the standalone.
Yeah, and what's weird is that, did you know that ROM is actually the most capacity a Game Boy cartridge ever had?
Wow, yeah, like they pushed the memory limit and they compressed the hell out of it. And for what? A horribly big crushed flipbook version of Somebody Once Told Me
The world is gonna roll me.
Yeah.
We all had to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Alright. I'm trying. What else can I say about GBA Video? People have figured this out as well. But here's the thing, it's very similar to that kind of story. The Video Now story, and I don't really want to get into that in this episode because I already talked about that, and you can clearly tell what happened with GBA Video on the homebrew scene. So, this was another competitor, but how about another idea? How about taking the idea of a dedicated video playing device and combine that with cartridges? What do you get?
Oh boy.
The juice box. This was a real thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to be confused with an actual juice box. But
Yep.
Juice box and a lunch box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mattel made this. Tiger Electronics was owned by Hasbro, and Hasbro and Mattel, forever destined to be rivals. Mattel wanted to get into the game itself. The juice box. The juice box was also in color, and they also came in cartridges. You know how Shrek was in 6 frames per second on the Advance? Imagine that, but for everything on here.
Well.
Yep. And this was an actual competitor to the Video Now. It had a Linux-based operating system, which means it has a much more interesting homebrew scene than the previous two. Meaning that they could actually, do proper Linuxy things, since this thing was based on the Linux. And it had this very nice sort of cover for it. You could actually at least get that.
And I think the question is, which was better, Juice Box or Video Now?
Video Now, especially later in its life. Like both of these methods, GBA Video and Juice Box, they were kind of the half-hearted attempts to get into the sort of weird 2000s portable video player game. And Tiger Electronics just kind of held the day on that, since they actually used discs. While these guys, they just wanted to get into that game, and they did not do it that well. They had color, but that's it.
Yeah.
So, alright.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, as I said, a little bit earlier, because, well, I got to know a lot about the Juice Box thanks to, well,
Melty.
His Forgotten Media episode of the Juice Box, and for all of us who know Melty Man 234 and follow him, because we got to know about the Juice Box, and because not one of the best products, obviously, and as we said, as the question was answered, Video Now was much better than Juice Box, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And eventually, go ahead. Did you?
I do like that little introduction thing that does this 8-bit thing, and then Juice Box, bloop bloop bloop.
Yeah. It had a sort of demo video cartridge that came with it. Yeah, Juice Box. Yeah. And it had that sort of montage of what things you could play on it, which was mainly limited to Cartoon Network and 4Kids.
Yeah. Melted Man 234 had some pretty good like title cards for Forgotten Media, in the early episodes, like because Juicebox, for example, and a bunch of others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so has all been said on Juicebox?
I think so. There's not really that much to say about Juicebox, so you've talked about video now.
Yeah. So, wasn't there that other? I don't know. Like, if this counts, like there was another Forgotten Media episode that he did. It had to do something with a pocket device. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it was called like mini clips, like hit clips. I think it was.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Mini Clips. Mini Clips was a website.
I was talking about like hit clips. That thing that had like abridged versions of songs.
Hit Clips. I remember those. Yeah, I've never seen them, but I've seen them on the internet.
Yeah, hit clips were in the same ballpark as these, but they weren't for video. They were for music. What they basically were like abridged versions of songs and later actual songs, like singles that you would put in this sort of mini player that had these hardwired headphones, and then you'd listen to it and question your life.
Right. Okay. But if you knew what I was talking about, because there was an episode that Melted Man did, about this pocket device, whatever the heck it was called. I can't remember the name of it.
Ooh.
Anyways, so continuing on, I guess, now to DVHS.
Yeah, we have time. So, this is a different section of the video. Remember when we used to, do these weird things with DVDs and portable formats? Well, we're actually going to do weird things with HD video now. This is almost like a follow-up to the HD DVD versus Blu-ray episode, since there were actually other formats besides those two that did HD, and one of them, surprisingly enough, was on a VHS tape. I'm not even kidding. This was a way of storing digital video on a VHS tape, and this was basically the first digital HD format that came out. Like, the first real HD format was Television, but no one really bought that. This was the theater, a way to buy HD movies before, Blu-ray discs, and it came out in 2002. Fox, Artisan, other people, they made iRobot was one of them, I think. That was the last one. Terminator was one of the first ones. Terminator 2.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to remember. Galaxy Quest was one of them. Techbone showed it off in this video.
Galaxy what?
Galaxy Quest. Remember that Star Trek parody?
Yeah, I love Galaxy Quest. Yeah, never give up, never surrender. So Galaxy Quest was one of those movies, that came out on, DVHS.
Yeah, and the thing about DVHS was, it was proper, full digital HD video. Like, you could actually watch it on HD TVs with HDMI or a component. And it's weird because it was in proper MPEG-2 format, and it was on really a digital format as old as VHS. And what sucks about that is that once the VHS wears off, since it's digital, you're not going to be able to watch it for very long. So, oof.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a DVHS, really. I mean, I've had just DVDs and VHS,
Yeah, the thing with DVHS was, it was similar to the Muse High-Vision system, where no one actually bought into it, and it was just this sort of super expensive thing for, like, the early adopters of HD video. I mean, and I actually want to mention this, but the masters for these are kinda not that good. And a lot of these masters were used in early Blu-rays and early HD DVDs, but eventually they made a better version of those, I guess. I mean, I can't really talk that much about DVHS for SmackDown. Like, I just kind of threw these in there just so, in case we ran out of things to talk about for this weird formats episode.
Yep. Now we don't even have formats, it's just streaming.
Yes.
Yep. So we're now done on DVHS?
I guess so.
Or is there anything else to talk about it?
Wait. Yeah, we're pretty much done.
What was after DVHS? Nothing?
Yeah, I think that's all I can say about DVHS. I mean, sometimes I don't really like to talk about things at length, unless it's something I'm really into.
Yeah.
I'm not really a SmackDown guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next we have this. What is it again?
The NME HD VMD. Remember
Yes.
Blu-ray versus HD DVD? Remember that episode? There was another. There was a third.
A third competitor.
Yes, this came out around late 2007, and they had an interesting idea. Instead of using those newfangled blue lasers, why wouldn't we just use a slightly modified DVD-ROM drive and actually manufacture the discs so that they would have more than 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers, 5 layers, 6 layers, 7 layers, 9 layers, 10 layers, a bajillion layers.
Shit.
As you could see, this, trying to focus through all those layers would be incredibly difficult. So a lot of HD VMD releases, they were actually on standard DVD discs, like full-on HD video on standard DVD, with a DVD-ROM drive with modified firmware. This is a very weird... This is probably the weirdest format we've talked about thus far, because the way it worked was weird, the way it was compressed was weird, like it was like super duper compressed because they were trying to, you know, prove the viability of the format. And this thing actually got a crap ton of delays because this was hard to manufacture because they had so many layers, and how the hell could you focus a laser on so many layers? Like, at most you could do like 3. And the most layers that these discs had were in fact 3.
I thought it was 2.
Yeah, it was 2 normally for DVDs, but these were like HD VMDs, meaning that DVDs with extra layers.
Right, like onions. Like I remember like a single layer Blu-ray being like 25 gigs and a double layer being 50. Did they ever do a triple layer Blu-ray?
Yeah, they did.
How? Like, where are those used in? 4K stuff?
Mostly like 4K things, but those are mostly like blank Blu-rays that are, you know, used normally as like a read-only format, like optical discs usually are.
Ah.
Like, no movies were actually released on triple layer Blu-rays, I believe.
Oh, so triple layer is more like recordable then.
Yeah, pretty much. But DVDs, it doesn't really work that well. And this company, New Media Entertainment, they learned that the hard way. And as a result, only standard DVD video discs with, you know, HD content on them were released, except for a few movies, one of them being Lucky Number 11. Like, Tagmone actually did another video on HD VMD. You should check that out. And you can actually see it was pretty compressed, like very, not as compressed as GB video, obviously, but in comparison to Blu-ray and HD DVD, it was kind of soft. It was barely even better than the DVD.
So, slightly better than DVD, but not by much.
Exactly. Because of all the compression that they had to do to get this full HD movie on a small 15 gigabyte disc. And really it was only 12 gigabytes because one layer of DVD is only 4.7. Yeah. Even less than the HD DVD, which was basically already done at this point. Anyway.
Like, it does make me think, though, like, what would happen if people weren't afraid to keep experimenting? Like some people may know that a laser disc on 2 sides can play a full movie, but that's just reading analog data. What if there was something the size of a laser disc with the laser of with the file structure and laser of a Blu-ray? How much data would that hold?
I think that would hold a lot of data. I mean, we already have discs that can hold up to like 100 gigabytes, 200 gigabytes. That could probably be like a permanent hard drive backup or something.
Like, imagine like friggin' like this disc contains all of Netflix.
Yeah, or rather saying, use this disc to have a proper, full-on backup of your hard drive that can be restored at any moment.
Like, insert disc, boom, computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be careful, there won't be a virus.
No viruses.
Yes. I wish those Windows instructions we tried to draw actually worked out.
Yeah, I think it was because we were
wondering.
less focused on. I think it was because back then we were less focused on letting people tell us what to do and trying to make weird shit happen, and more focused on let's smash this thing because haha funny views.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, for YRC SmackDown sometime, we should probably actually have a VM and pretty much do whatever we want with it in that SmackDown.
Yeah. Like I'll point you to the shareware disk I've been trying to get running. That thing's a bitch in VirtualBox.
Yeah.
Like on 95, it's slow as molasses. On anything else, I get runtime overflow errors.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll probably do the VM on VMware at that point, or hell, even QEMU if I learn how to use it on Windows.
Like one way or another, it's gonna work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry if I keep dipping out. It's the fucking obstructions with the Starlink crap.
Oh. Alright, so wait, what's something else I could talk about HDVD? Well, yeah, did you know that the discs were actually manufactured horribly, even regardless of the Herculean manufacturing effort that it took to make them work?
Right. Reminds me of that scene from SpongeBob where he wanted to build the right sponge to play the tune that soothes the jellyfish. He's trying to figure out the right proportions. But which one is the right size? I'll just make a bunch of them.
Yeah. This was basically their mentality with HDVMD. And you should actually learn more about HDVMD because I don't think I have that much to say.
Yeah. It's like when they were deciding on the conspicuous, not conspicuous, like the complexities of the format, they were going into it thinking they had like infinite dream, infinite budget, and anything is possible. But then they found out they were only getting paid in chicken McNuggets and then used cheap ass material.
Yep. Alright, I think we're done.
Right.
Yep.
With this episode. So here are my last words. Weird formats were very much a thing of the 2000s. Like, at the end of the decade, iPhones became common, iPod Touches became common, and people watched their movies and shows on those. That's for the portable formats. For the rental formats, pretty much everything's been taken over by streaming. And the same can be said about the proto HD things.
Yes.
So, but it's still important to experiment, and I hope that companies still experiment with different ways to put video on things. Who knows, they might even actually be more convenient than we have now. So I think that's my last words.
Right. Like, as far as HD stuff and experimental stuff, I look forward to the inevitable 8K format race. And as far as rental formats go, I can't believe I'm saying this. Thank God for streaming services.
Yeah. Does anyone else have last words?
Well, okay, so I know that you and both of you have last words to say. Like, Does like say DG have anything to say or not?
Yeah.
And
He already said that. He already said his last words. GH did.
I said Digi.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what got us confused because you said DG. That's not his name.
Digi. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have any last words, do you? Digi?
Not really. Just
All right.
Okay. All right,
Right.
then I guess I have the last words.
Uh-huh.
Well, okay. Out of all the products we talked about, because really the only thing that I've experienced with is, well, because again, both me and Decem, we both had and experienced Video Now, and that's been the only product that in this batch of products that I remember very well and I've used and my experience with that. But aside from Video Now, because all the other products we talked about, because knowing about them and what you guys talked about, yeah, it's very interesting. And who'd have thought? Because HD VMD, it was another competitor, right next to Blu-ray and HD DVD. I never knew that, to be honest. But and also because I got to know about, say, Juice Box, and again, thanks to Forgotten Media, Melting 234, and like the Game Boy Advanced video, well, because I know about Game Boy because being heavily involved with Nintendo and so on, but that's entirely different. Actually, Game Boy Advanced Video, actually playing episodes or movies, etc. Yeah, but just I think this was I think this was a pretty fun and good SmackDown and what we talked about. So yeah, I had fun with this and with the pictures that I did on screen share. So yeah, so in closing, I think the SmackDown was pretty fun and the products we talked about, and there you go.
All right.
Okay. Next Raw on Monday, I'll be playing Sonic Forces for real this time.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. So.
Awesome.
Exactly.
And the next SmackDown, of course, will be about Fox Animation.
Actually, no.
What?
No?
I actually remember this SmackDown the next SmackDown being about the rest of Marvel, but we can do Fox Animation next week if you want.
I thought that was next week.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter either. The next SmackDown could be either Marvel Part 2 or Fox Animation. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like we might as well just do Fox Animation.
Okay then. Then it's
Yeah,
settled.
since right here,
Yeah,
Fox
so-
Animation was right after DivX.
Yeah, like I thought and heard that Fox Animation was going to be the next SmackDown after this one we just did.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, I read it. I just read the pin schedule. That's what it says.
Yeah, the schedule, yeah. Yeah, so I look forward to that.
Yes,
Yep.
Fox Animation.
And it will be a bonus. Here's another thing, viewers. Not only are we going to be doing Fox Animation, but the creators we're going to be talking about, like, we're not just going to talk about the animation shows they talked about that they created that aired on Fox. This will be a bonus. Like we'll also be talking about other animated shows that they created that wasn't on Fox.
Yeah,
Right.
we're going to be talking about 4 people, and these 4 people are the most important people in Fox Animation's history. And I think
Yes.
I think there are other works outside of Fox that are to be talked about on SmackDown at some point.
Oh yeah.
All right, and of course there is Prevest, which is on April 2nd.
Yes. Still a ways away.